Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Is it good? Can we put our hands together for homies, tacos? Woo! So be sure to help yourselves. Be sure to help yourselves to tacos and plates of food. Be sure to help yourselves to food and drink. We are glad you are here, and we could not have picked a better evening. It is a beautiful in the city of Bakersfield. This is wonderful. So we are here to meet, to greet, to get to know the officers that serve the Metro Zone community. We want to get to know all about you, yes? We want to know your dirty laundry. No, I'm just kidding. But we do want to get to know who you are. We want to know the officers that will come to our aid. We want to get to know you, and we definitely want you to know those who are living and worship, work, serve, do business in the Metro Zone. Although there may be a few of us, there's still enough of us to change the world, and we're going to do that, right? One family, one organization, one agency, one service, one church, one ministry at a time. Can you put your hands together for that? Yes, yes, yes. So without further ado, I introduce to some of you and present to others of you our own chief here of the Bakersfield Police Department, Chief Terry.
Thank you, thank you. All right, good evening once again. Thank you again for being here very much, taking the time to come out and share a meal, but also to participate and connect with us here at the Bakersfield Police Department. The purpose of tonight is about getting to know each other and being able to put us in positions where we can connect with each other as a community. The public safety challenges that face our community are real, and they are many, and they have different levels. And so we want to collaborate with our community and really be intentional about how we address these issues. And so tonight is about sharing a meal, but it is also about getting to know each other. So I want to invite all of the officers to have a seat at the table with the community members, and I want you to start having conversations and sharing a little bit about yourselves with each other. Tonight is, again, it's about getting to know each other, but also understanding what are the challenges that are facing the Metro Zone. We know that I can look at calls for service, and our staff can give me information about what crimes are being reported, and it comes to me in just as dots on a map. But those are real people, real families, and real issues that are represented there. And they don't often truly represent what's really going on in that neighborhood. I can look at statistics, I can look at what's reported to us, but it doesn't necessarily reflect what the most significant issues are in that particular area. And so again, a goal of tonight is to get connected to the officers who are working this area. You live in this area, you go to church in this area, you work in this area, you're aware of some of the issues that are going on. We want to understand what they are. We know very often that our community doesn't report what's going on because they don't know how, or we haven't been accessible in the ways that we need to. You're afraid to because of the information or retaliation, or the fact is, the reality is in some circumstances, is you have reported it to us and you've not seen any action, so you've given up. That's a reality. We know that like I said earlier, we have many, many challenges. We're working hard to have the staffing that we need to truly serve this community. And I could not stand here and tell you how proud I am of the men and women of the Bakersfield Police Department. You can see some representatives here tonight, and this is representative of who the men and women of the police department are. You get to see their hearts. You get to see that they're just human. They have the same challenges, the same fears that we all have, and they have families, and there's no differences amongst us in that respect. So I want you to get to know them. I so much appreciate the work that they do every day and every night to protect our community and to serve it in so many ways, and I want you to get to know them as well. So this is about getting to know each other, but it's also about sharing concerns, understanding ways that we can better serve you. Where do we need to spend our resources? Do you have questions about what's happening in a certain area? Why certain things are happening? Why you haven't seen a response from the police department that you want or you would expect? Why certain things are being done in a certain way? This is the time to have those kinds of conversations and truly connect to us and for us to connect with you. Big picture, we're going to be doing this across the city in all of our different patrol zones, because the bottom line is we want to connect with our community. We want to be the resource that our community needs and expects from us. So again, I appreciate you being here tonight. Again, I want to invite the officers to find a table, and let's have some conversations for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and revisit it here shortly. Thank you.
Give it to me. All right, so this is our open discussion time, just to reiterate what Chief Terry said. So there should be officers at all the tables, and all of you that are sitting at the tables that are members of the community are here at this event. We want you to ask all the officers the questions, their names, their backgrounds, why they're in law enforcement. This is like open discussion, open forum for you. So each table should have an officer or officers, and you should be engaging them in conversation. They are human.
Okay, to our online audience, welcome, welcome. And so what's happening now in the garden here at Compassion? Officers and detectives and lieutenants are speaking with the residents and officers are getting to know one another, building relationship. That's what is all about. And we want to make sure that those of you who are watching us online and gathering with us online, that you get an opportunity to meet some of our officers here in Bakersfield, California, because we can do more together than we can apart. I'm speaking really low so that they can have wonderful conversation. Do we have someone coming, Pastor Roland? We're glad that you have taken time to be with us. And Pastor Roland is getting an officer for you to meet. So we want to welcome you. This is Tuesday night, and this is our normal Tuesday night opportunity where we're on Bible study. We're every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We welcome you right here at the Compassion Christian Center page live. Yes, come on. So come on and meet one of our officers. Hello, sir. Hello. You have your, you don't have a lapel on. One of our officers, come on in. Community still coming in. Come on in. We welcome you. This is wonderful. All right, Pastor Banks, I'm going to allow you to ask questions so he can use this microphone. Here you are, sir.
All right. All right, so this is how you pronounce your last name?
Broida.
Broida. This is Officer Broida. Officer Broida, tell us why you decided to go into law enforcement.
So I decided to go in law enforcement because I wanted to do something fun and exciting. I've lived in Bakersfield my entire life, so I also wanted to serve my community. And I wanted some profession where every day would be different, and I could also help out the community where I grew up.
Okay. Do you have anyone else in your family that's been in law enforcement, or are you the first or only one?
I am the first and only one.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. That's exciting. My dad was a police officer. He was an MP in the Air Force. And back in the 50s, he went into the Air Force and he became an MP. He became a patrolman, worked his way up all the way through the ranks, and ended up becoming chief of the department in my hometown. and he was the first African-American police chief in our whole county. So I grew up in a law enforcement family with my dad being a police officer. Tell me about the, how can I say it? Tell me about your, how can I say it? Your people skills, because my dad, he was very regimented and things like that, and that carried over into our home. So tell me a little bit about your personality, your people skills, and your ability to communicate.
All right, so actually prior to doing this, a lot of people in the department know I was actually a DJ for 20 years.
No way.
So I've got to hang out with all sorts of different.
Okay. Okay. Oh, my bad.
Oh, I'll be quiet.
Okay.
I have a loud voice. I project.
Will the camera mic pick us up, Brother Ellis, if we get closer? I'm not sure. Okay. Let's just talk lower. Okay.
That's the DJ voice.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
So, because of that profession before, I was, I've dealt with people from all different walks of life and, different income levels, different areas of town and throughout the state. So I think that's where, I could use my previous life experience in police work to just, interact with everyone and treat everyone with the same respect that they deserve.
Oh, are you still DJing?
A little bit from time to time.
Do you on the weekends and stuff like that? Wow, that's exciting. And you said you're from Bakersfield?
Yes.
Born and raised here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you ever have any desire to leave Bakersfield at all, or you just like it here?
No, I've always liked Bakersfield. It's a nice, big little city, and whole family's here and all my memories. So I've never had a urge to leave, really.
Okay, tell me about your career aspirations. I have my son's dad is on BPD, and he's done some of everything. I remember one time I dropped my son off at his house, and there was this old beat-up Ford Taurus out front. I was like, whose car is that? He's like, I'm undercover. So he's done all types of things. So tell us a little bit about some of the things you desire to do as a police officer. Do you want to be on the streets the whole time? Do you want to become a detective? Do you want to become a lieutenant? Do you want to be chief one day? Tell us about your career goals.
So I'm still getting my feet wet. I'm still trying to determine what route I'd like to go. Obviously, being a detective down the line sounds awesome, and staying, active on patrol is definitely appealing, and just seeing what other specialized units there might be.
Okay, good. So when the opportunities open up, you'll just go ahead and apply for those as you feel like that's something you want to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah. I've seen a change. I mentioned it earlier with Chief Martin. He was the first one. So I've been pastoring here for about 4 years. So Chief Martin was the first chief that I totally interacted with. So I'm not talking about the chief before him like he didn't do his job or anything. I'm just saying Chief Martin was the first one I really interacted with, and then Chief Terry. And I've seen a change in the attitude, demeanor, I don't know if I want to use this, say professionalism of the officers, but there's definitely a more relational, interactional feel to the officers that as we engage with them, during our daily life. So can you talk a little bit about the overall training that you guys have? Because I can tell whatever they're doing now is different than what they did back then. So tell me a little bit about the training and how you guys are taught to interact with the public.
Yeah, so we definitely receive a good amount. Pretty much the first couple weeks in the academy is all about community. We have different community leaders come and talk to us from all sorts of different walks of life and organizations. So that right off the bat kind of instills that kind of community relation aspect into the job. Before we start learning about how to do cop work or anything, we start learning about how to do community work. So I think just having a good foundation in the academy and then just, throughout the culture doing stuff like this, I think translates well.
Good, yeah. I think a lot of times, I think it's probably in any industry or any profession, we see people professionally and sometimes we forget that they're humans. So tell me a little bit about, you don't have to tell me all your business, but tell me like what things you like to do when you're not at work. What are your activities? What do you like to do when you're not at work, when you're just trying to relax, or what kind of hobbies and things like that do you have?
I'm pretty simple. I spend time with the family, and I go hit the gym, make sure I work out and stay healthy, and try and stay productive around the house. So not a whole lot to me, but just the essentials, honestly.
Oh, okay. So you don't have like a custom car collection, or you're a surfer, you DJ, you're none of those?
No, just the DJ, I guess. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's about it, though.
That's good. That's good. Tell us about the the day in the life of a police officer. Tell us what you do before you, not what you do before you get to work, but once you get to work, tell us about what a day looks like for a police officer, for any maybe young man or young women for that matter that might be interested in going in law enforcement. What would a typical day in your job look like?
Yeah, so first thing when you're working on patrols, you show up for a briefing, which is essentially a meeting before you hit the streets with all of your partners and your sergeants, your senior officers. So, you kind of talk about what may have happened the night before or over the weekend, talk about different tactics or different things that, may have been brought up. So a briefing before shift is essential, so that way everyone's on the same page and we don't just all hit the streets without a plan for whatever's taking place. So there's briefing, and then after that everyone goes out and you kind of see what the day holds. You see where you're dispatched to. It could be something crazy, it could be something mellow, someone just needing help, or you could go out and be proactive. You could look for bad people doing bad things and try and find that on your own, or just see where you get dispatched. And each shift is about 10 hours on most shifts. So tonight I work at 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. and go home, go to sleep, wake up at 2 p.m.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this. So once you have your meeting and your briefing and you get in your police cruiser, then you're sent to a certain area. So you're just kind of like patrolling that area, or do you have like a list of things that you need to do? I mean, how is a day laid out, like specifically once you leave and you're in your vehicle, you haven't had any calls yet? Do you have certain things that you need to do, or you're just kind of out there watching and just looking for things?
Yeah, so every officer has a specific zone that they patrol. Obviously, we're in the metro zone like we had talked about. There's 6 zones in Bakersfield, so if we're east of the 99, it's the Hill, Metro, and Valley. If you're west of the 99, it's the South, Central, and North. And yeah, you kind of stick within your zone. You drive, you patrol around. That way you're close to your partners, you're close to the calls for service, and obviously if something crazy happens in another zone, everybody goes. You're a cop, you still got to go. But just staying, within your zone, and if there's high crime areas where maybe there's been a lot of thefts or a lot of other incidents, we make it a point to patrol those areas a little heavier. So hopefully we could, help prevent some of those crimes.
Okay. Let me ask you about the mental health aspects of being in law enforcement. We're a church here. I'm the pastor here, and we know it's important that we pray for everyone in our community, including law enforcement. But tell me about some of the things that you have available to you to help you to deal with the stress of the job, to unwind, and what do you do to take care of yourself mentally and physically so you can be, on top of it when you're out there, and then even be able to interact with your family? What are some of the things that you do personally, and what are some of the things the department has available to you?
Yeah, so the department is great. They have a ton of resources, both for mental health. They have chaplains. They have a lot of resources on an app that we have on our city phones that just has numbers and resources if you need to talk to somebody, or if you're going through something and you just need to reach out. In addition to that, we have a fitness center. So that to me is a great therapy. Is just staying healthy, staying active. And other like meal prep type services so that you're eating healthy and everything. And yeah, just on a personal level, I think that's important. Just like any job, you kind of have to separate home life from work as best possible. Spend time with your family, that's what matters. Stay active, try and eat good, and, indulge when you want to. Just don't go crazy. But yeah, to me that's important. Just make sure you take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody can.
Yeah, that's so important. I have a good friend that is Bakersfield Fire Department, and he's been trying to get me to be a chaplain for a really, really, really long time. And so I finally, with COVID and everything, I finally went to like an orientation to meet like the chiefs, or the people that are involved in hiring that, and some of the other chaplains. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be called out, a family's house catches on fire, they have some kind of tragedy or something like that. You got to be able to minister and pray for the family, and if they need resources, clothes or a place to stay, you'd be involved in all of that, that support. So I'm thinking that's what it's going to be. So I'm at the fire department downtown on H Street, right there by the Fox Theater. And so the more I'm thinking about it, and I'm hearing the other chaplains and I'm hearing the chiefs, I was like, wow, this is not just the people that have been burned out. The actual firefighters themselves need like support. So as a chaplain, it's not just like going to a scene and talking to the families. It's also when they've seen tragedy, or they've gone to accidents, car accidents, or they've seen death. And you guys see death a lot more than your average person, obviously. That was just eye-opening to me. So I want you guys to know that we're praying for you, and I think we all want the same thing. As a matter of fact, I know we all want the same thing, and this is a good opportunity. So what do you think for us all to come together? So what would you like to see come out of events like this?
So I think just in general, just like a lot of problems, just people are misunderstood. I think, communities are misunderstood, in certain demographics. I think, officers are misunderstood. And so doing events like this kind of helps bridge that gap so we could talk, have a conversation, and just, put ourselves in the shoes of the other person and vice versa. And again, I think that, could help solve a lot of problems in a lot of aspects in life, honestly.
Yeah, you said it right when there's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication, a lot of stereotypes, generalizations and things like that. And, regardless of your ethnicity or your background or where you grew up, we all want the same things. Certain people have more opportunities than other people, and because of that, they might do some things that you wouldn't normally do. But you can't judge people because of, some of the decisions that they make, because you don't know the backstory and all that went into that. And I said, growing up in a police officer's house, I understood that, I wanted my dad to come home every night. And you have people that don't care, and you have people that, have nothing to live for. And officers have their own families, and so we try to see the bigger picture. But I do believe there needs to be more transparency, more accountability, more communication, and more events like these where it's not just when there's a problem. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we turned the speakers off.
We're still good? Okay.
We're good?
I guess we're too loud, but go ahead.
You're fine. I still think that, like you said, transparency is key. We are entrusted with, a lot of power, and, with that comes responsibility. So, stuff like this, like body.
Oh, we still need to hear, hold up.
Okay.
Oh.
And this mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though these speakers aren't on, I guess we got audio.
We've got a feed there? Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So again, not to use the cliche line, but we do have a lot of power, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. So I do believe the transparency is key. We wear the body cameras. We recap, certain events that happen so that, the community can see this is why this happened, this is why this took place. Sometimes the job's not always pretty, but, as long as we can be transparent about when things go a certain way and you can see why officers reacted a certain way, I think it is beneficial for everyone because, we know we did nothing wrong and we should have nothing to hide.
Right.
And it will hopefully help resolve some questions that the community might have about, whatever event may have transpired.
So when you get to a crime scene or someone makes a call or something like that, what are some of the things that you see from the people that call in, that some of the assumptions they make about you that you wish you could clear up?
Well, I know sometimes response time is an issue. I completely get it. If you call the cops 3 hours ago about something, they haven't come out yet. But things are done in a priority fashion by our comm center. So if, somebody broke into your car, that's horrible. But however, if there's 3, assaults and, robberies with, a gun and stuff, happening around the city, unfortunately, it's going to push stuff back. And so, I totally feel, just to a regular person, one of the worst things that could happen to you is somebody broke into your garage and took some of your stuff. And we try and get there as fast as we can. But I just think that because of how much stuff happens, our call time, there's always room for improvement, but I just hope that gets understood as well.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to thank you for your time tonight. We really appreciate you. I asked another officer, and he was like, So when I came and asked you, you were like, yeah. So we really appreciate this. And keep DJing, keep our kids safe. Make sure you enjoy your family, when you get home. And we know it's a stressful job, and sometimes it's hard to unplug and unwind. But we don't want you to lose, the fact that you're a human, you're an individual, and your career doesn't just, define you. We don't want your whole world to revolve around that. You want you to take time for your family and vacation and do all of those things. And we're praying for you guys. All right?
All right, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you. Absolutely.
He was good.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's the DJ in him. That's the DJ in him. So we are trusting that you are sharing. Hit your share
Yeah,
button,
they were
hit your
continuing to do that,
tag
but I
your
think
friends,
this
let
is
them
going
know
straight
what's
into
happening in the
yeah,
Metro Zone
yeah,
tonight
yeah.
in the city of Bakersfield, California, right here in the beautiful garden of Compassion Christian Center. We are hosting the Bakersfield Police Department. It is the Metro Zone Meet and Greet Taco Tuesday. Pastor Roland, is your microphone still on? Okay, I was wondering why he was doing this to you.
Oh, he just did that
Okay,
because he's a
so Pastor Roland, what do you think so far? Are you pleased with what's happening?
Yes, I'm pleased with what's happening, and I think a lot of times we look at and we got a great crowd here tonight. I was concerned nobody was going to come. You always have an event, nobody's going to come, you think that. But we got a great crowd here. It's a great vibe, a great environment, and this is how it all starts. You can't reach everyone, but our goal is to influence those that we have in our circle, and then those influence others in their circles, and it's a domino effect where it goes from this core, this nucleus, this center, and it gets out there. I'm excited about this opportunity to meet with the Bakersfield Police Department. People have all kind of ideas about law enforcement. They have all kind of rumors about law enforcement, all kind of complaints about law enforcement, and the only way to deal with those things and get these issues corrected is bring them to the forefront. There's no need for us just to continue going down the same path with the same convictions and the same attitudes and never ever reaching out to try to make a difference. That's what I really love about Walter Williams. He doesn't just talk about it, he is out there in these streets, boots on the ground, sleeves rolled up, making a difference. His passion comes through, he's been doing it for a long time, and we need more people like him and more people like you in the world. So those of you that are watching right now by Facebook Live, we want you to evaluate how you deal with law enforcement and how you interact with law enforcement. It's just like anything else. Am I talking too much?
No.
It's just like anything else. If you have a bad teacher, there's a way to go and make your feelings heard about the way your child is being taught at school. If you have a bad experience at the auto mechanic shop, if your doctor is not as polite or the receptionist in your doctor's office, there are ways to handle these things. But I don't think anyone is going to go to a doctor's office, deal with a rude receptionist and say, I'm never going to go back to the doctor again, right? That's a rude individual. So we shouldn't label law enforcement, we shouldn't label school teachers, we shouldn't label men and women of God because you had one bad experience with a pastor or whatever. Doesn't mean that all pastors are XYZ, doesn't mean that all doctors are bad because that one doctor was rude. It's important that we keep an open mind and we communicate and we're transparent so that we can deal with issues and problems and move forward in a positive way.
And tonight is a beautiful illustration of that, Pastor Roland, because not only is the house of worship being represented here tonight. We are hosting this event, and then we have public servants here, the Bakersfield Police Department, but also private business sector has joined in, and we want to thank Tomas of Dream Home Realty, who provided all of the drinks for this evening's event.
Tomas.
Thank you,
Put some fire in the
Tomas.
chat.
Yes, Tomas of Dream Home Realty. All of your realty needs can be met there with Tomas, and he is a part of the community and wants to help the community. So he was excited to be brought along in terms of being brought along for this event. And then also we met him through Miss Demetric Williams, who is with Right Start Mortgage. And so them working together, they have brought the private business sector into tonight. So it takes the private business sector, it takes the Christian community, and it also takes public service communities, right? All of the agencies, education, all of them to serve a community. There are families, children are running around. Now this does my heart good, Pastor Roland, because children are running around all of our grass. Community kids have come out, right?
Yes,
and
amazing.
they've made friends instantaneously. This is what it's all about. Community being able to come out and enjoy one another without apprehension, without hostility, without, thinking, the worst of everyone, but to think the best of your neighbor, because guess what? We're in this together. We all live in the city of Bakersfield. Corinne, you gonna come talk? Come on.
Corinne, yes.
I thought you were coming to talk. Hi, Corinne. Come in the middle. Well, we're going to do one last talk for tacos, but this is Corinne. And Corinne, give us your title and what you do for BPD.
So I am the Community Relations Supervisor for the Bakersfield Police Department, and our job is to be able to find ways to engage with the community. So all of the neighborhood watch, all of the education, school programs, faith-based groups, anybody that's interested in finding out ways that they can keep themselves a little bit safer, that's us. And so we want to send our folks out. We definitely want to be a lot more proactive. So these partnerships, this opportunity that you guys have given and created tonight is amazing. And I'm really hoping that we can kind of just continue this and just this trajectory is awesome.
Absolutely. Corinne, this is beautiful tonight.
This is amazing tonight. And the weather couldn't have been better.
Like we're on the coast, and we're not on the coast. We're in the valley of California.
Yeah, so this is amazing. This has been great, and I know that honestly we've been working with you guys for a while, and this has just been a continued effort. And just like Pastor Roland said earlier, no pandemic was going to stop this.
No pandemic was going to stop us. No, one of the questions I had written down tonight that I wanted to ask, a lot of times when people look at a police department, all they see are officers, lieutenants, sergeants, captains, chiefs, right? But Corinne, I want you to talk about what other positions and opportunities are available for careers in police departments.
So I am a civilian employee, and I've been with the police department 20 years. So I will say initially I didn't think that I was ever going to go into law enforcement. I grew up over off of Quantico in Virginia. We say Quantico, not Quantico, because if you're from there, you say Quantico. But it was one of those things. I started working at the Police Activities League and got to learn about the police department. And so I initially started as a community relations specialist. So in our unit, we have 9 specialists and a supervisor. We also have a couple officers that are eventually going to be assigned, but we also have our citizen volunteers and we have our police cadets. So those are a lot of folks that are interested in volunteering, but we also have crime analysts. We have crime lab technicians. We have police service technicians. We have dispatchers, which are really the backbone of the police department. We could not be a police department without our dispatchers. We have our records clerks, because in our records division, we have several positions in there. We've got police and property equipment specialists. So, I mean, there are so many different positions where if your heart is in being of service and being part of a community, I cannot imagine a better place than the Bakersfield Police Department, because one of the best things about our department is that our folks who work here live here. And that is not common when you look at the law enforcement industry as a practice. And so we are vested members of our community, and we are truly a community. And so because we live here, there's nobody more interested in making your community better than the folks that where we live. So we need to work together. So I think as far as career, yes, we have so many different career opportunities that really it's a great place to be in. Aside from the work and being part of something that's bigger than yourself and contributing to something that's just more than you, you know, there's a lot of accomplishment. I mean, we definitely won't get rich there. But it's okay. But you're rich in accomplishment, you're rich in giving back, and there's something about that that's so fulfilling in knowing that you're making these connections and you're touching people and you're connecting and you're providing something that's a little bit more. And so I think, to me, when I think about what are some of the best things about working for the Bakersfield Police Department, it's the people. I truly love the people that we work with because we are committed to our community. We're committed to making this a better and safer place and just working with our community. So if anyone was interested, obviously give us a call. We have so many different opportunities. If you want a tour of the police department, come in and see. They can give us a call. We can conduct tours. So
let's give them your name. This is
Karina Ortiz. Karina Ortiz, and my direct line is 326-3024. Again, 326-3024. If you want to email me, Ortiz, O-R-T-I-Z, at bakersfieldpd.us.
Now, you heard it right here live. She's giving it to you, and I think that's so important, Corinne, because, like I said before, there are children who are growing up in this community, in the community you grew up in as well, who just look at law enforcement just as, you know, the patrol officers. But there is a career waiting for you in law enforcement in all of these fields. You can work there too, and I'm glad to hear about it. I'm glad that they're here. We could not have asked for a better evening. It's so amazing to see people talking, and the word that I just kept saying leading up to this event is bringing back the humanity. We've all seen all the things that have happened over the nation. We are not dismissing that, but one of the things that we know, in order for it to change and in order for it to get better, we must view each other once again as humans. We must view each other once again as those who want the same thing. We want to go home to our families at night. We want to see our children grow up. We want to be the father and the mother of the bride someday, right? So we all want the same thing. And so to see officers and BPD and residents sitting down at table, breaking bread and meeting one another, outside of a formal format, because we've been involved in those for.
Yes, and I
Right?
think that's what I loved about this idea that you guys had was the fact that we had done some formal sit down and we had agendas and we had these topics that we knew were going to be really difficult topics, and that's okay. Difficult is absolutely okay because I think when we talk about friction or we talk about tension, it's actually growth. It's a good thing and that's growth, but to have something like this where we just have the opportunity to just get to know people, that is and it's such a simple, so simple. And it was so simple and so amazing, and it's working out well. I love looking around and I love seeing, people sitting at tables and just chit-chatting, and we're talking about favorite sports, and we're talking about, and these are things that are also relatable. Again, just like you guys said earlier, we have so much more in common than we don't. That's right. So this is amazing. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Corinne, our friend for life, right? And for everyone being here. And it is a last call for tacos, not for you, but we're going to make the last call for those who are on the scene. Thank you so much. I love you and I appreciate you. So yeah, this is a wonderful thing. I'm excited about it as well. I think Pastor Roland went to find someone else. Hey, to all of you who are on the scene, make sure you share. Hit share because you care. You care about people seeing the community engaging. Guess what? People are not leaving. They're sitting down and they are engaging. No one's in a rush to get anywhere because this is authentic, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take being authentic, to want to know others who maybe don't look like you, who are not in the same line of work or service at you, but who are in your community and want the best for the community. Miss Rita, I see you. Thank you so much. Miss Lilia Jackson, hello, good evening. Miss Brenda Cooper, good evening tonight. Hey, Miss Vicky, glad to see you. Rachel Hubbard is watching. Glad to see you this night. Hey, Miss Janet Musgrove, all the way from Staten Island, New York. Look what's happening in the state of California, in the city of Bakersfield. We're glad to be a part of it. Miss Helen Green, thank you for being with us tonight. Glad to see you. Minister Kelly, wish you were here. It is an amazing event. Glad to see you this evening. Hi, Miss Sharon Locke. Glad that you are on. Make sure that you are hitting your share button. Miss Jeannie Sarton, hello. Miss Kamisha Jackson, hello to you and baby Amira. We're glad that you guys are on. Hit your share button, tag your friends, let them know what's happening in the Metro Zone in Bakersfield, California this evening with Bakersfield Police Department, the residents of the Metro Zone, private sector business. We're all here together. Guess what? For one simple reason, we're getting to know one another. That's what it's about, right? Hi, Uncle Greg. Uncle Greg Braxton is on. Miss Henrietta, hello. Your grandbabies are running all over the place, having a great, yes, we're going to go ahead and span. You can span while I talk. Yes, sir. Yes, so the cameraman is going to span as I'm talking. Children are running around with children from the neighborhood, making friends instantaneously. And that's what happens when you spend time with people. Isn't that right? What happens when you spend time with people? You get to know people. And as Corinne said, we have more in common, actually, than we do apart. And we only find that out is when we take time to talk, when we take time to get to know one another. Hello. We are glad that you all are on. This is Pastor Marisa, and I'm trusting that you are sharing tonight. I'm trusting that you are tagging your friends to let them know what is happening in the city of Bakersfield. And although there may be a few of us, there's still just enough of us. We're going to change the world. You may say, why does she keep saying that? That's a new song that's out. If you haven't gotten it, you got to get it by the one and only Bishop William Murphy. You got to get it. Go to your iTunes store. Go to wherever you get your music. We're going to change the world. Yes. Hello, Chief. Are you? Yeah, they're talking, and we're glad. We're glad that you all are here. Now, Pastor Roland has left me. He's talking and having a great time. This is amazing tonight. Yes, this is what it takes. This is what it's going to take. And we're glad about it. I want to speak to, let me see if I can get her. Just so you know that we're touching the community that we're in and that we serve. I need Spanish speaker, whoever it is. Yes, she said, would you rather speak to my supervisor? I said, well, I need a Spanish speaker because we want the Spanish speakers to understand what's happening here tonight. It's all for them. Give me your name and your title at the police department.
Janet, Community Relations Specialist. My supervisor does speak Spanish too, though.
Well, you're here now. All right, look, she's still trying to give it to someone else. Janet, can you explain in Spanish just what's happening here tonight and the importance of it, and how do you feel about it? Is it successful? Do you think this is good? Go ahead, Janet.
En Spanish.
In Spanish.
So, este evento es para la comunidad. Tenemos la comunidad que invitamos a la comunidad en esta iglesia para que pueda compartir cualquier preocupación que tenga, que esté pensando en su negocio o incluso sus vecindarios. Estamos aquí para poder contestar preguntas. Si tiene alguna pregunta de algo, estamos aquí para poder hacer eso. Es para que podamos juntarnos como comunidad para poder tratar de ayudar en lo que se pueda, ¿verdad? A veces uno tiene preguntas, a veces tiene cosas que les gustaría preguntar y pues aquí estamos para poder hacer eso, y este evento es especialmente para la comunidad aquí en la área de Metro, así que si viven en esta área pues están invitados a venir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So to our Spanish speaking neighbors and to all of the residents here in Metro Zone, we are so happy to be serving you in this matter. This is what it's all about, right? And so they just made a last call for tacos, and people are going to get into Homies. What a great service tonight. We thank them for that as well. And we look forward to everything that is going to happen. Let me see if I can get Pastor Roland maybe to sign us off here as we finish here on the scene. Or is there one more person that may need to speak to? Let me see. You can spam one more time for me. Ladybug. Good. So good. I see it coming to fruition. You hold on. Detective. Detective, excuse me, can I get you on camera? Yeah. Good night, right? Right, like everybody's favorite. Don't let him tell you no, but he can sing too. I heard it. Come on.
Aaron, walk in. Yeah, Pastor Steve.
Hey guys, now I was like, excuse me, detective, can we get you to come and talk on camera, please? And I said, give me your first name. He's like, oh, Aaron. What's your last name? Watkins. This is Pastor Steve Watkins' son, and he's serving in the Bakersfield Police Department. Guess what? As a detective. Now, Detective Aaron, talk to me from your career standpoint about what's happening here tonight. Good or bad? Successful? What do you think about this evening?
I think this evening was very successful. You just look around, and there's a lot of people here. We were able to just, talk with community members and kind of hear some of their concerns and comments and things that they're kind of frustrated with. And we were just kind of have those open conversations, no agenda. And I think that's where trust and relationships start to happen.
Talk to us about your career with the police department. How did you start? What made you interested? Why did you pursue it? Even
Okay.
with everything that was happening in the nation and in the world regarding police department and police departments and people's view, especially people of color's view on law enforcement. Talk to us about it.
Very interesting. So I didn't know I was going to get into law enforcement. I just kind of had an interest once I got into college. So I have a cousin that's on my dad's side that works in law enforcement with the LA County Sheriff's Department. So he kind of got me, interested in, taking. Actually, my first ride along as a police officer was with the Bakersfield Police Department. So going back on that, just think about I want to be a part of that change. I think I know as a police officer, and very specifically with Bakersfield, my badge is 1256. So within the history of the Bakersfield Police Department, I will have my impact, and nobody else is going to have my number. So I think that's very unique. And I was just telling some of the community members tonight, there's a lot of people that say they want to be police officers, but there's a lot of people in my academies who were in the academy, and I thought they were going to make it, and they didn't, because, it's very hard. It's very tough. It's a very challenging career. But for me, being as a black man, I think it's just a beautiful thing because people get to see people that look like them in law enforcement. And so I think that's one of the things that really motivates me to continue to just grow as a person, as a police officer, as a detective, and just as a member of this organization, and just be a leader in this community.
How long have you been with the police department?
Oh, yeah, so I have been in the police department for 8 years. I'll be 8 years in September, and I have been a detective for actually 1 year. Yeah, so 1 year almost anniversary.
Okay, so he's a newbie.
I'm a newbie.
And for those of you who don't know, I mentioned it earlier that he is actually the son of a pastor. So he knows what service is. He knows what it means to serve community, to serve others, and to make the decision to serve in this capacity was huge. And I appreciate that about you. And I've been told that he's a singing detective.
This is the day.
So when he's not doing when he's not doing his detective work, he is a singing detective. So that means I'm glad to know that we have detective that knows who Jesus is, and that's important, right? And so when we talk about, the scripture says that we are to pray for those who are in authority, and the reason that we are to pray for those who are in authority, so that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life. It didn't say you had to like them. It didn't say you had to agree with everything. But the scripture says that we are to pray for them so that we can lead a quiet and peaceable life. So, Detective Watkins, I want you to know, as a representative of this ministry, we take that seriously, and we pray for you all. We pray for those who serve in the Bakersfield Police Department. We pray for the judges, those who are in authority, city managers, and things of that nature in our city, so we can lead a quiet, peaceable life. We need that, right? And we want you all to be able to enjoy your families and to fulfill your dreams in your personal lives, Even
Give a quick story. Because when we think about service, it just made me think about it because I knew this was planned, but I've been doing a different kind of capacity for a job these next 2 weeks, and I'm filling in as a public information officer. Okay. So with that came, hey, we go being part of events and stuff, and so my family didn't know that I was coming out here, but again, it's part of service, and that's the thing that I want the community to know is that we sacrifice a lot. Sometimes when you see these officers, they're out there and they're going to calls for service, they're doing investigations. Just because the call is over doesn't mean that the investigation's over. It takes time. Sometimes they're staying hours upon hours after their shifts to finish these reports, to make sure these things are done correctly so the bad people can go to jail and we protect the victims out there. So I just want people to understand that.
That's good. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. There he is, Detective Aaron Watkins. He's singing "This Is the Day." I think last but not least, before we sign off for you, I want to bring just a representative of the business sector so you can see that this was actually a collaboration tonight. If someone can get for me, Mr. DeVale, Miss Demetric Williams in the flowered outfit, and the gentleman next to her, Thomas, if they can come. Are you guys having fun yet? I'm having a great time. I'm having a lot of fun tonight. This is what I enjoy. I enjoy seeing the actual work being done. I enjoy it. Oh, see, it's time for us to sign off real quick. You ready to sign up? You ready to sign us out? Okay, I just want to speak to the business sector right quick. Just so the those of you who are watching us by way of the screen, you fully understand that this was a collaboration with civil service, the faith community, and come on, my friend. For those of you who don't know, we are friends even from high school. We don't look a day over 18. We know. Hello. This is my friend, Miss Demetra Williams, and she represents the business sector that came alongside of us tonight to help us to make this happen in the Metro Zone. We call her Meaty, so that's okay. I want to appreciate what you guys have done, providing the refreshments and drinks tonight. I've mentioned Tomas, but I want you to mention who he's with, who you're with, and what you offer to the residents here in Bakersfield.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Demetra Williams, and this has just been wonderful tonight. We were out here, we were just sitting over there talking to one of the police officers and just engaging with one another, and it's just been absolutely beautiful. What I am is I'm a mortgage lender with Right Start Mortgage, and what I offer is financial knowledge to the community. Anyone who's interested in buying, selling, or refinancing their home, we can assist them with that. My business partner is also here with me tonight, Tomas, with Dream Home Realty, and he's a real estate agent, and he actually sells properties and help you find out the value of your homes and how